Studios.
Welcome back to Laughing in the Dark, the podcast where I hang out in haunted places with comedians. This is another fixture in our Sunday Minisode series where I talk to you about your ghost stories. For this Minisode, I spoke to Rocky in Atlanta, Georgia. Rocky explained that he has a special gift where he's able to see otherworldly creatures and can even interact with the spirit world. He had so many different fascinating stories to share with me. I know you'll enjoy them. Here's the call.
Hello?
Hello, is this Rocky?
Yes, is this Star?
This is not Star. That's my manager. This is Sarah Jones. I'm the host of Laughing in the Dark.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I think I got the names mixed up. I'm sorry, Sarah.
Oh, no,
But
that's
yes, this is
totally
Rocky.
fine. It's totally fine. How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm great. So I'm a little thrown off actually by your number because it's a 248 area code, but it says that you're from Atlanta.
Yes, so I moved here to Atlanta from Michigan, which is the 248 number, about a year and a half ago.
Okay, yeah. I know it's a 248 number because I'm from Bloomfield Hills.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah.
That's
Where are you
awesome.
from?
I'm actually from Royal Oak.
How funny. What a small world. So now you live in Nashville, not Atlanta?
No, I was living in Royal Oak in Michigan.
Yeah.
That was about a year and a half ago, but I just moved and I'm currently living here in Atlanta, Georgia.
In Atlanta. Okay, got it. Funny. Yeah, because so what I do, so you have spoke to Star. She's my manager and my like assistant for the show. All she sends me is your name, where you're from, and your phone number.
Right. Are you in Tennessee or are you in California?
I'm actually in Portland, Oregon.
Oh, okay.
So wait, you said you're originally from Royal Oak?
Yes.
How funny. What a small world. I love Royal Oak.
Yeah. It's pretty much the place to be if you're in Michigan because there's not really much else.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you miss Leo's Coney Island?
I used to live not too far because I moved around in Michigan a lot too, from a few Coney Islands. I've had myself a Coney Island enough for a little while anyway.
All right, Rocky. So do you have a ghost story for me?
Yes, I have quite a few. Did you want me to just tell you about one or did you want me to? Oh, we can just start.
We can, yeah, you can just load them up. I love ghost stories. That's why I do the show.
Okay, awesome. All right. So the one that I'm kind of nervous when I do phone interviews and kind of stuff.
Oh, you're nervous?
Yeah, for some reason I'm just not good at public speaking.
Oh, but guess what? You don't have to think about anyone else listening. It's just you and I on the phone, and we're from the same place. I went to Lasser High School. Like, we're practically best friends. Sai-Tai is my favorite food ever.
Right.
And we're from the same place. And so you're in good company. So don't even think about it and don't worry about it, okay?
All right. Okay. So the story that I can remember off the top of my head right now is the story about my friend's cat named Casey. So my friend, this is back in college.
Okay.
So my friend she rented an apartment, but the apartment didn't offer pets. But she didn't know that at the time. So she adopted a cat. And she had to go away for a while. So she couldn't just leave the cat in the apartment. So she ended up asking if I could cat sit or babysit or whatever the cat. So at the time, I was already watching another friend's dog. And so I was like, sure, I have a dog and I'm dog sitting. Might as well have a cat too. So the dog's name is Cash. The cat's name is Casey. So Cash is like the coolest dog. He just sits there and chills, and he loves smaller animals and pets. He thinks he's a lap dog, so he's fine with them.
Oh.
But Casey, as soon as Casey comes in, Casey is just like terrified of Cash and is like running away and hiding. And so we're like, okay, well, I guess Casey's sleeping in my room and Cash can stay in the living room. Because Casey, for some reason, like, it knew where my room was because it didn't go to my roommate's room, it went to my room. So the first couple of nights, Casey is not really doing anything. The first and second night, Casey's not really doing anything. But by the third night, I noticed that Casey started waking up around 3 a.m. And so they call that the witching hour.
Yeah.
And I found that really strange because it wasn't just like, 3:12 or like 3:36 or anything like that. It was specifically right at 3 every night. And I remember thinking, man, this is kind of weird. And Casey would wake up and he would wake up, run circles in my room, run into the bathroom, then run and jump on top of my bed, run circles on my bed, then back onto the floor. And it would repeat this process. I thought it was really weird. I was like, man, why does this cat have so much energy during 3 in the morning? So I researched it on Google, and they said that apparently cats are typically nocturnal, so it's not too weird that they do that.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, whatever. It must be fine now. But the cat keeps doing that. And so I found it really weird that it's still doing it. So one night, I got really annoyed. And I woke up, I was going to just like yell at the cat. But when I woke up, I was on my right side with my hand kind of laying on the pillow in front of my face. So when I woke up, it was like super dark out, except for the light from my window. And I'm seeing this dark fuzzy thing on my hand next to my face. And it looks like it's kind of just like snoozing on my hand, slowly moving up and down. And I think, oh man, that must be Casey. But something just didn't feel right. I could feel kind of this weird energy, this feeling that something was wrong here.
Yeah. And
I ended up looking down, and what I saw was the thing in front of me was black, but Casey was a white cat. And I look down my stomach, and I see Casey sleeping by my stomach. And I see this black thing by my hand, so I look back up, and it turns around, and it faces me. And it's kind of like those 1980s werewolves, but instead it looks like a little boy mixed with a cat.
Ooh.
And it's sitting on my hand.
It's sitting on your hand?
Yeah.
So it's like really tiny.
So it's about the size of a really big cat. So,
okay. And you could feel it on your hand?
Yeah, I could feel it on the hand. It has like the face of a half boy, half cat, but it mainly has the body of a cat. And I was like, what the heck is this thing?
Yeah.
So the thing is, I learned from kind of my energy work and kind of my family was raised as shamans. So I learned how to control my energy. So I remember I freaked out and it looked at me and it saw me that I was looking at it and it started scratching at my hand and trying to bite my hand. I couldn't feel the scratching or the biting though, but I sat up and I remember just trying to throw it out the window. And as soon as I threw it, it kind of just disappeared. And ever since that night that I threw the little cat boy, Casey has never woke up at 3 a.m. ever again. Now, I don't know. Yeah, and I don't know if ever it really was Casey or not, because all those nights before, I would never fully wake up. I would always just be conscious. I have my eyes closed and just kind of assume it's Casey, because what else would be running around my room?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but after that, I was kind of freaked out. Like maybe all that time it was actually whatever that thing was.
Yeah. Oh, that's so creepy. I love it because it's like a demon, kind of like a little demon.
Yeah. It was so weird looking.
Yeah. So it looked like a black cat boy thing.
Yeah, like mainly the body of a big black cat, but like the face of a little boy.
Yuck. That's creepy. I love it.
Oh, thank you.
So so that was when you were in college. Where'd you go to college?
I went to Michigan State.
Woo, go Sparty. So that was in East
thank
Lansing then probably, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, which reminds me of another story from East Lansing.
Oh my gosh, you have so many.
Yeah. So as kind of like a spiritual person, I kind of knew that there's this weird spirit that would kind of walk around Lansing all the time, East Lansing campus. And so I hadn't really told too many people about my ghost stories before because I just always assumed people would think I was weird. But my brother was going to school with me at the time, and we're up late just like talking with some friends when I started telling them these ghost stories. And then my brother goes, "Oh no, that's bullshit. None of these things ever happened." I was like, "You don't remember all these things happening to us as kids?" And he's like, "No, that never happened. You're full of shit, blah, blah, blah." And so the two friends, they start laughing at me, and everybody was basically just thinking I was full of it.
Yeah.
So I said, "Okay, fine. If you guys don't believe me, then I'm going to call a spirit here tonight," because I knew the one that would always come around Lansing, and because I've had a lot of experiences with spirits, I kind of have this thing where I can attract or repel them. So I started calling the spirit of East Lansing by. And finally, it got pretty late, around 2 a.m. And one of our friends that had been sleeping, one of our roommates that had been sleeping since about 10 p.m., she suddenly woke up and just sat down in our little group of circles, and she was completely pale. And we're like, "Oh, what are you doing up?" And she's like, "Oh, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it." And we're like, "Okay, that's kind of weird." So after our other friend leaves, our roommate says, I woke up because there was a ghost in the house. And I don't know if you know about sleep paralysis.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we call that, in our language, we call that jewel, which means that a spirit is sitting on you and like kind of strangling you. And so I said, "Oh yeah, I told you guys I was going to call a spirit here tonight, and I forgot to check up on it." And so the only person that was still asleep that it could have affected was you. And after that, my brother finally believed me. He's like, "Oh shit."
Wow.
He actually did it the same night, and it actually affected more than one person.
You said that in your language, you call it what?
We call it macho.
Macho?
Yeah. Ma is the word for being, and chua means to be kind of possessed or like strangled-ish.
Ma chuang?
Chua. Choua.
Chua. Ma chua.
Yeah.
What language is that?
Yeah. That's Hmong. So my people are Hmong, and Hmong people make the best Thai food.
Wait, it's what? What is the language?
Hmong. It's spelled Hmong, but the H is silent.
So Hmong.
Yeah, you actually said it pretty good.
Oh, thanks. I'm learning stuff, and maybe our listeners are learning stuff too. That's crazy. That's awesome. So you've always had this ability to kind of call spirits to you if you want to, but it also seems like they're attracted to you as well. Is that right?
Yeah, I don't really practice it too much so I wouldn't say it's like I can just do it with the snap of my fingers. It's kind of more like fishing, where you can throw a bait out there, but the fish doesn't always bite.
Okay. Yeah.
But ever since that, my brother started believing me. I don't know. I have a whole bunch, but then since we're on the topic of college, I have another story about college.
Okay.
So I was in a fraternity, and we have our sister sorority, so we would always do like campfires and bonfires and just activities where we would get to meet each other. And one of my cousins called me, and she says that she's been having like bad dreams and something. She keeps feeling like something's around her. So I go ahead and I kind of take a peek into her life, and I see that there's this big fat man, and he kind of looks like a butcher, and he's like following her. So I did the whole calling of the spirit thing to kind of try to get him away from her. I don't know if you guys want to get into this, but basically the way that I got him away was that I pretended to be her in like kind of a spiritual sense where I was matching her energy and everything. So it ended up kind of following me, and thinking that I was her.
Oh, okay.
But I kind of forgot about him because it was either that night or the night after that we had the bonfire with the girls.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this energy type was always trying to follow girls.
Ooh.
And that's why I was following her. I forgot about it and I went to the bonfire at the sorority house.
Oh, no.
And yeah, so it's not going to like just want one girl's energy now. Now it's going to want like the whole house of girls.
Uh-huh.
And we're also on the topic of scary stories again around the bonfire pit. So eventually, two of the girls end up leaving the bonfire pit together because girls always go to the bathroom together.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, we hear them screaming from the bathroom, and they're just running back to the bonfire. And we're like, what's wrong? What's wrong? They're like, we were in the bathroom, and the door just started shaking by itself. And we thought it was one of you guys, but then we realized everybody's out here, and there's nobody else in the whole house but us. I looked back over to the bathroom, and I see just like a quick shadow moving through the window. And I was like, oh yeah, I kind of forgot about that thing. And now it's stuck at that house.
Oh, no.
And I don't know how to get it out. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Yeah. So I didn't know how to get it out of there, but hopefully it's not there anymore. I don't know.
It just seems like you have all this responsibility on your shoulders, but you're like, I don't know what to do about it. I forgot about it.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's like, if I'm using fishing bait, it's at a buffet, and it's not going to care about my fishing bait right now.
Yeah.
Oh, I got another one. So I used to actually live in Lake Orion. So what happened was we had a pool in our backyard.
Mm-hmm.
And so with the pool in the backyard, I always kind of had this weird feeling about it. And okay. Well, anyway. So I remember that it was just we had a big pool in the backyard, and there was a glass window that would always, like a glass sliding door that you could see the backyard. And I remember waking up one night and just seeing this little blue face of a boy. Kind of looks like the little boy from The Ring, but instead of being white, his face is all
The Grudge?
blue.
The little boy from The Grudge?
Oh yeah, The Grudge, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I was like, that's a little girl.
Yeah. So the little boy from The Grudge.
Yeah, that bluish, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So, but instead of being kind of whitish, it was mainly just blue, and it had no eyes, and it had its mouth wide open.
Ooh.
As if yeah. And I just remember getting the sense that he was somebody or something that had drowned before. Not necessarily in our pool, because, sometimes spirits can travel.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember a little bit after that, after seeing that thing, one of my cousins came over to go swimming. And, as kids, you don't really think about safety or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I just remember thinking, like, hey, where has our cousin gone? Because there's a whole bunch of those kids here. Turns out that she was actually at the bottom of the pool. She had actually kind of drowned.
Oh, my God.
But luckily, we were able to, I still don't know how she made it out. But luckily, we were able to get her out from the bottom of the pool. And she's okay today.
Wow. So you feel like something might have pulled her down there?
I don't want to bring that up to her because I noticed that whenever you bring stuff up to people, it makes things worse. So I just never really mentioned it.
It makes things worse how? Like it makes things worse with the spirits or with their reaction?
With both. So another story, this will explain what I mean.
Okay.
Is that my sister, I have two sisters, and they got to their teenage years where they didn't want to share the same bedroom anymore and they needed their own space.
Yeah.
So one of my sisters decided to move downstairs in our basement. And she chose the one spot in our house that was like the weirdest and creepiest spot. Like she chose a spot in our basement where we had a lot of books, and our bookcases would just randomly collapse, and we would always have to restock the books and restack them up for no reason. The whole bookcase would just collapse.
Mm-hmm.
She chose that spot in the basement to set up her new room.
Oh.
And I remember as I was moving her stuff to her room, I remember seeing like this little skull. It was like this weird shriveled head skull in her room. And I didn't tell her about it. And she got sick for like a whole week. For 2 whole weeks, she was just like really, really sick. So she moved back upstairs thinking maybe it was just too cold upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
And then after she got better after a week, she moved back down there. She got instantly sick again. And so finally I told her, I was like, hey, I should have told you this so that you shouldn't have moved down there. But if I would have told you sooner, you would have been aware of it. And because you would have been aware of it, it would have found you easier. But there's like a skull downstairs, and I can see it like biting you. And that's why you're sick. It's because this weird skull that keeps biting you. And so after that, she just freaked out. And she never stayed in the basement again.
That's so funny. Oh. And wait, how did you describe the skull again? You said it was like small.
Yeah. Have you ever seen like those little shriveled heads, shrunken heads before?
Yes.
Like in those movies?
Yeah.
It was kind of like that, but it was like half the size of your hand. And it had long hair. It was kind of green at the time too. It was just this shriveled, sunken skull head.
So that,
hair. And it was,
I'm pretty sure that is a voodoo thing.
Oh, yeah?
Shrunken heads. Yeah. And they do have long hair. And actually, it's not just from movies. They're real.
Mm-hmm.
You know that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
I think shrunken heads is like a voodoo thing. And then it's also kind of voodoo to make somebody else sick. Like if you think of like a voodoo doll or something. And this is like, I don't know a lot about voodoo. I want to learn a lot more about it. I'm really interested in it. But that to me sounds like a voodoo encounter.
Well, I'm not sure because I don't practice voodooism myself. But
neither do I.
You have more insight to that.
Yeah. Well, I don't even know either. And that's one of the things I'd like to explore more in future seasons, like going down to New Orleans, like I said. But I'm pretty sure shrunken heads, and I mean, maybe there's a listener out there who's going to hear this and be like, no, you idiot. But right. I'm pretty sure shrunken heads is like a voodoo thing. So that's what it makes me think of, at least. So that's really interesting. I wonder if that doesn't have some other kind of, because that also is a little bit different than your other experiences, because you actually saw a creature in at least every other ghost story you've told me so far. You've seen a creature, you've attributed like some kind of an intention to them or some kind of a feeling from them. But this one was like, all you noticed was the shrunken head. And then her reactions were physical. They weren't just getting creeped out. They weren't having something happen outside of them, like the cat boy running around. It was like her physical body was reacting. So I think that's a voodoo situation.
It might. I'm not saying it isn't, but I'm saying just from my own experience too that it might be. But we also believe that if there's a spirit that has bad intentions for you, they can also make you sick too.
Oh, really?
So,
okay.
Mm-hmm. So the reason why I saw it kind of biting her and just kind of being in her room, that's also for us a sign that is trying to steal her energy, is trying to take a piece of her with it.
That is creepy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you have so many. Like, do you like these things, or does it bother you, or are you just kind of used to it? Because it seems like you have a lot of spiritual energy that's around you all the time.
Well, growing up, this is why I never mentioned anything to my brother until we got to college. Mm-hmm. Growing up, I was just always so scared of it that I just didn't want to talk about it to anybody. Because, you know, the more you talk about it to somebody, the kind of the worse it gets.
Yeah.
So I figured that's what all my other siblings were doing too. But it was just kind of wasn't a choice. It was just things would happen to you and you had to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember I'd always get a lot of things bugging me, a lot of things coming to me all the time. And this all happened when the earliest I can remember was probably when I was 3 or 4. So when I was about maybe 6 or 7, I just got fed up with it, and I went down to my basement, where like it was the creepiest part. So I would go down there. And one night, it was just middle of the night. I didn't turn any of the lights on. Walked down to our creepy basement, and I just sat there in the middle of the room in all the darkness, and I could just feel things coming left and right trying to scare you.
Mm-hmm.
But because I was facing them head on, they kind of left me alone, or at least they weren't like. They were still there, but they weren't trying to annoy me specifically that much anymore. Yeah. Well, I don't know if that's going to work for everybody else, but going right to the heart of it and meditating there, just kind of challenging them. It's kind of like having a bully.
Yeah.
Where if you don't do anything to them, they're going to keep picking on you. But if you go like face them, then they leave you alone.
Mm-hmm. Huh.
Yeah.
That's awesome that you were able to kind of confront it. So what do you think?
Yeah.
It sounds like you have so many stories that you're like, I don't even know which ones to share. But
yeah.
What do you think was your scariest story? Do you know?
Scariest story. Oh, okay. This one's kind of weird.
Okay.
Well, I remember my cousin was sleeping over, and we were pretty young, and we were like super addicted to video games.
Mm-hmm.
And we would wake up at like 5 or 6 in the morning just to play video games. So
what video games specifically? We have to set the scene.
Oh man, I don't even remember the name of it at the time. But let's just say that it was a PlayStation 1 game. So it was a little while ago.
I loved PlayStation 1. I loved Crash Bandicoot Warped.
Oh my goodness.
I played that with my brother.
Spyro.
And Spyro, yes. Spyro was fun.
Yeah. So I forgot which game we were playing at the time, but I remember having a dream.
Okay.
That there was I'm sorry, I guess this isn't really a ghost story. This is just kind of a weird story.
Oh, that's okay.
But yeah, so I was having this dream that there's this big war in the sky. Oh wait, no, okay. Hold on, let me backtrack. I started off a little too late.
Okay, no.
So I woke up in the middle of the night, and I see this lady. She's dressed in this red dress, but it's our traditional Hmong clothing. Mm-hmm. So if you ever go look at like Native American or like Tibetan traditional clothing, it looks like that, but all red. And she's standing there, and she looks just like the lady from The Grudge, where her skin is this pale, kind of grayish, lumpy looking color, and she has long hair that's covering her whole face.
So now this is the girl from The Ring. You keep getting those two movies confused.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It's funny.
Interviews.
No, you're totally fine, but it's hilarious that it's like those are flipped. But yeah, so it's like Samara from The Ring, the black hair over her face and the...
Yeah. So it's this girl from... It looks just like that. Yeah, I can't really see her face, but her hair is not just down. There's enough hair down covering her face, but it's all spread out, kind of like a hedgehog or like a peacock. His feathers would be.
Oh,
so
interesting.
Her hair is just like all around her.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she has like that weird skin, and she's standing in the furthest opposite corner of me in my bedroom, and just pointing at me. And I remember thinking, this is so weird. She's not even on the floor. She's floating above the ground. She's just pointing at me. How did this thing get in here? And I could sense that I was moving closer towards her, but my bed wasn't moving or anything like that. But she was getting closer and closer. And I remember thinking just for a second, it feels like the whole world is rotating and moving. And she's not moving. She's the only thing in the world right now not moving. And she's just allowing the Earth's natural rotation to move me closer to her.
Ooh.
And it was like a really freaky sight, because just to feel like the whole extent of the world in like that in 1 second. So finally she gets to the very edge of my bed, and I kind of black out. But the next thing I know, when I wake up, there's this really big dude, and he's an angel. His body is like just the width of his shoulders is half the length of my full size bed. And it's weird. He's just huge, and he's standing over me with his arms crossed. And he looks down at me, kind of to tell me, hey, I'm the one who protected you. And then he looks up. And then the next thing I see the whole sky. There's a war in the sky. The sky is all red. And there's this battle between angels and demons going on that we can't see normally, but he's showing me for like a brief second. Mm-hmm. And I remember I got up out of bed right after that. And I went to the living room. And my cousin, he's up already playing video games. Mm-hmm. And I look out the window and I'm like, hey, dude, look outside. And he's like, what? I was like, doesn't everything look weird? And he says, no, what are you talking about? I said, everything is red. He said, no, it's not. I was like, no, like right now, everything, it looks like there's this red haze, like red mist all over everything right now. And it looked like the battle in the sky, like blood was falling from the battle in the sky. It covered everything.
Mm-hmm. Whoa, that's crazy. That's like, what was it? You said your family was raised to be shamans. Is that what you said?
Well, our people are mainly shamans. So
that's like your religion?
We kind of believe in, I guess you can kind of say that in loose terms, because I feel like a religion is something more that like a faith in a god or a deity. Mm-hmm. But shamanism is more like a way of life. Okay. So
I like that.
I'm not sure how to.
Well, because what's funny is like I was raised Catholic, so it's, totally different. But you talking about the war between angels and demons in the sky, like all of that happening, that's like Revelations.
Oh, yeah. Well,
from the Bible. That's wild.
Was shortly after that, there was like all these hurricanes or something that ended up hitting Florida. But that was a long time ago.
Oh my God, yeah. I think that's in Revelations when the angels and demons like have a war.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And in the book of Revelations, at the end of the Bible, there's this battle between heaven and hell.
Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, okay. I was like, am I making that up in my head? And then I was like, no, that's a thing.
No. The good thing is, actually, I used to study the Bible a lot too. I read the whole thing, front to back, maybe 3 times now.
Oh my God.
On it. Yeah, they have some pretty interesting things in there, and Revelations is actually pretty cool too.
It is. Yeah, I've actually tried to read the Bible, but I never get through it. But I'm also like a student and I'm really busy all the time. So it's like, I'm going to probably, once I'm done with school, I have like a few more weeks. I think I'm going to pick the Bible up again and just read it almost just as a storybook, and also to know like, it's a huge cultural book. And I feel like so many people don't actually read it,
Yeah.
But some of it is just like interesting. Because I like, even in Genesis, when they're like, oh, this person's 930 years old, you're like, okay, like, got it. Like, yeah. Not to like offend anyone, but okay. So that was probably your scariest encounter, you thought, the Samara looking lady with her peacock hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like it'd be really scary.
It was really scary because the way she moved was to be still in all of the world and having the world rotate us to her. And that was really weird.
Yeah, it's like she had this power.
Yeah. Oh. Okay, well, last one really quick, because this one's at the top of my head. Is it okay if I give you one last one?
Of course, yeah. Okay, this will be the finale, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, in our house, I used to always see this little girl. Kind of looked like the girl from The Ring, too.
Okay.
But she would look different according to where you'd see her in the house. So I used to see her in 3 places. One was in the bathroom, where she'd be standing through the back seat of the toilet, and she'd be staring out the window. And she'd be standing there as if nothing in the house actually existed.
Mm-hmm.
The second spot was actually in our basement, right next to the stairs. And whenever you would go up the stairs, she'd be right next to your face. And she'd have bluish skin too, and she had all these scratch marks on her face. It looks kind of like either she died fighting somebody, or maybe after she died, some animals came and were eating at her or something.
Mm.
And then I kept telling when I started coming out with these stories, nobody really believed me. Even my parents didn't really believe me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, no, these things are real. You guys don't ever see them. They're like, no, you're just going crazy. Don't talk about them anymore, or people are gonna think you're crazy. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, you guys really don't believe me? And then I told them all these different stories, and they're like, no. I was like, okay, well, fine. What about that little girl in your room? And they're like, what? I was like, yeah, the third place that this little girl, I'd always see her. It would always be in the corner of my parents' room, and she'd either be standing with her head down looking at the corner, or she'd be sitting with her knees tucked, looking out the door into the hallway. And after I told them that, they just got really quiet, and they didn't say anything anymore.
Thanks for your call, Rocky. I loved hearing all about your many fascinating experiences. I bet you have a lot more stories where that came from. Do you have a ghost story that you want to tell us on Laughing in the Dark? Email us at litdarkpodcast@gmail.com or write to us in our Contact Us form on our website, litdarkpodcast.com. We may want to feature you on the show. Thanks so much for listening.